We're in Japan, the land of the rising sun, to find groundbreaking homes that captivate and inspire.
In a place that combines miniaturization and microchips with ritual and tradition, it'll be fascinating to see what their architects have accomplished.
I think of tea ceremony.
And spaces that are highly ordered.
Japan's many mountain ranges mean only a quarter of the land is buildable. With a population of nearly 130 million, Japanese architects know that small is beautiful. And whether it's an architect let loose on the coast,
A reinvention of an urban townhouse,
or a woodland fantasy to grow old in,
it's magical, mysterious, and we'll discover how some of Japan's best architects can package the old and the new in all sorts of shapes and sizes.
It's not big, but it is clever.
Our first home is 2 hours northeast of Tokyo in Izura, an affluent coastal area known for its fishing.
The sea is everywhere. I mean, it's an abundant source of food here.
No, I think each Japanese person eats about £3 a week.
£3 a week,
fish.
okay.
I mean, that's what £3 is. Well, it's half the size of your average baby.
80% of the Japanese live by the sea. There are nearly 30,000 kilometres of coastline. But in a place highly prone to earthquakes, it's not always the best place to be.
In 2011, the northeast coast was hit by the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, the costliest natural disaster in modern history. I'm glad to say that today, the rebuilding is almost complete and that traditional techniques and materials are very much in evidence.
I mean, this to me seems sort of typically Japanese. It's the wood again, which must be right up your street, isn't it?
Well, timber's a really resilient material. It's great in earthquake zones. It deals with moving around and that shake that you get in earthquakes. And, I mean, steel will fail instantly, whereas timber won't.
Well, the house we're going to go and see today is entirely made of wood.
That's why we're coming.
Indeed, and I think the clue as to who owns this house might be right in front of us here, because he's a fisherman, isn't he?
Look at this stuff, isn't it gorgeous?
It's fabulous.
There's a complete order to this.
Yeah, do you reckon it's organised chaos?
He knows where everything is. This is like my father-in-law's barn.
But even having read our horoscopes and having found ramshackle tackle, we fail to predict what we're about to see.
I think this is it. It is it. And it's not a fisherman's cottage, is it? It's quite dramatic, isn't it?
It's really dramatic, really dramatic.
House in Itsuura, though built for a fisherman and his family, is hardly the cottage one might have expected. Built on a steep hillside, perched on 3 structural pedestals, this house is earthquake resistant, but also, through its clever design, manages to marry an approach to modernity with traditional Japanese craft.
This timber construction is so evident, the way the joints are expressed at the corner, the way everything sits on top of everything else and steps out like a tree. And actually, the silver birch is here, a little bit like the structure that holds up the whole of the house.
It's got huge energy, hasn't it?
It does, like you.
It whooshes up, yes, exactly. It just sort of throws itself up in the air, doesn't it?
Yeah, and actually it's very ritualistic, making an entrance.
The biggest challenge building house in Izura was to create a stable flat platform, not only on a steep hillside, but in an area at high risk from earthquakes. The architect's solution was to build 3 timber structures, splayed pillars set in plinths of concrete, flexible but still strong enough to support the house. The wooden box above is V-shaped. One wing contains the kitchen, dining room, living room, and a master bedroom suite, and an external corridor that runs the length of the building. In the other wing, there's a hallway, an office, and 4 more bedrooms. Above is a study and storage room, and at the back, a garage and workshop for the owner's fishing gear.
This is a workplace as well as a home, wrapped up in inventive timber construction.
It's like a great big firework shooting up into the sky.
I mean, this is like some extraordinary treehouse in here. I'm going in. If I don't come out, Caroline, it's been lovely. Actually, I think I'm stuck now.
No, you can't can't be stuck with your little 9-inch hips.
Come and have a look.
No, I won't be able to get in there, darling. There's 2 very good reasons why not. It's all built on a great big termite mound.
But actually, the underbelly of this house is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yes, it's a lovely view from here as well. So young and agile.
Building these columns meant that every member had to be tested for its individual strength, because every new building in Japan has to be earthquake resistant.
This really does feel ceremonial, doesn't it? Under this.
It's wonderful to walk under a building to enter it, and then clearly up the stairs here to the front door.
And closer up, the attention to detail really becomes clear.
It's interesting how Japanese this is, though. I mean, look at the bolts on all of these. I mean, I could talk all day about bolts, but look at them. I mean, these decorative bolt heads that run along here.
Inside the house, there's a real celebration of timber, with an amazing attention to detail in elements such as this cantilevered stair.
Taking your outdoor...
Before we explore, we do what the Japanese do.
I would take a bit of time to get used to this. I'm so uncouth.
Shoes.
When in Rome, or Itsuura.
Oh.
Nice screen. Isn't it lovely, that?
Inside, the unashamed loyalty to wood continues with an almost sauna-like devotion.
But perhaps more importantly, timber is also the perfect structural material for earthquake zones.
It's not open plan. But the space isn't hemmed in by conventional walls.
I love it that it's only just wide enough to squeeze through.
Yeah. This is just a normal-sized room, but brilliantly, you can see through both sides. So you've got light coming in from both sides of the building.
It's quite modest, isn't it, the scale of these spaces?
It is, because from outside, it looks absolutely enormous. But when you come inside, the spaces are really quite small and domestic.
Tiny fisherman's cottage.
Yeah, exactly what we thought it would be.
None of these rooms are particularly large. In Japan, it's the quality of the space rather than the quantity that's important. Internally, there's an emphasis on making the use of space as efficient as possible.
Somewhere for the homework. I bet Japanese children actually do their homework.
Between the 2 external skins of the house, the architect has designed a light-filled veranda.
This space is typical of many traditional Japanese houses that would have had walkways between storm shutters and shoji screens. But it's beautifully made out of all this cedar.
Traditional paper screens have been replaced by glass. The storm shutters have become walls of windows which, in a climate of such seasonal extremes, ventilate and cool the house, as well as keeping insects out.
These fly screens are absolutely necessary in these corridors because here in Japan, the mosquitoes can be a real nuisance. But what I love about this corridor, this indoor-outdoor corridor, as it were, is that all these windows open.
And the amount of windows is just the beginning.
This is a complex piece of construction on a steeply sloping site. And these columns support a very big beam.
Thank you so much.
The owner of the house is Hiroshi Watanabe. He's always lived nearby with his family, but not on this site.
The architect is Kotaro Anzai. Much of his work majors on timber construction, and consistent in all of his work is a sharp focus on material, light, and detail.
For Hiroshi and his family, this house is a fresh start and renewed hope. And this house is tailor-made, allowing both domestic life and business to flourish together.
Hi.
Hello. This is Hiroshi's workplace. It's perfect.
This is his shower room.
I love this. This is how all kitchens should be. You can just make as much mess as you like and sluice it all down.
Isn't it fantastic, in a world where people are increasingly building live-work spaces, to see a place that is actually a work-live space? So none of that kind of hiding things away or feeling one has to be kind of neat in a sort of groovy modern house. You've got to hide all the stuff that you're working with. It's there and it's beautiful.
Because those groovy modern houses are so spick and span. That's what ruins them, isn't it?
Do you have all your architectural stuff out everywhere?
I have nothing. I'm an architect. I just have... That's it.
I know that's not true.